Welcome back, Goblin Chefs. It's APGAINS. I know my last video had no audio, and I don't know why that continues to happen. But if you want to help make it not happen, I guess 28,000 subscribers by the end of June, you guys can be fantastic. So we did a day 1 5-star unlock and testing of Elladan. We did low star. We did the complete free-to-play version where we took him to low gear 3 stars without spending any money. We took him to 5 stars. Did a little bit of testing. If you're wondering why I'm keeping lower gear on the elves, it's because when Elrond comes out, we will be doing testing for you guys, and we're going to do it the lowest gear, lowest level, lowest ability level possible to show you guys as free-to-play players when the event comes back around, if you're preparing for a free-to-play Elrond event, exactly the investment you need to make so you don't have to over-invest in something and you can be as efficient as possible. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that, and let's just talk about Elladan. So going into this, a lot of people kind of envisioned him as this free-to-play god. He had big AoEs, and he taunted, and he had nimble, and he did all sorts of wild and wacky stuff, and they brought some of that back and kind of transferred that power over to Elro here. So I'm going to talk about Elladan. I know I'm lagging here. I don't know why my computer is just absolutely shitting the bed right now. We're going to talk about Elladan in context of also being with Elro here, right? Because Elladan by himself, a lot of people are going to complain he's not as good as he was on paper for literally 45 minutes, and that's fine. But with Elro here, we actually get some pretty good synergy with the counterattacks and stuff like that. So I'm going to talk about the two of them as a conjoined twin because they definitely have a matchup ability and they work really well together. Currently, the arena meta is just gear. It's just a gear check. It doesn't matter if you farm your elves, your goblins, your Rohan, your Isengard, for God's sakes, it doesn't matter if you farm your Road to Rivendell. If you have more gear than your opponent, as I lag here, you're going to beat your opponent, and that's just how it has to be at the end of the day. There's nothing you can really do about that. Elladan was supposed to be this, free-to-play, arena-defying climb team where he just provided so much utility that you could really climb. He unfortunately does not. Now, the thing is, I believe that Elladan, Elrohir, Arwen, and Lomian are going to be 4 of the best characters in the game, but the reason they're going to be that good is just because of Elrond. Elrond is going to piece them all together and take all of their individual good aspects and make them into a synergistic, cohesive team. And I think that's pretty obvious to everyone. That's how these types of games work. But if we're talking just without Elrond, if you want to plug in Elladan into a normal arena team, he offers some stuff, but he doesn't offer enough to make it not a gear check, right? So right now, if you wanted to go in and try and climb, I've been tanking in arena so that when we get Elrond, we can just skyrocket through and it's going to be fun and we're going to have a grand old time. But like if you went against a normal, let me find one. God, guys, I need to find out where just one with a leadership, maybe? Does anyone apply leaderships anymore? All right, I guess we're not fighting a leadership, but this is 13-8. That's actually kind of strong. Let me find something that's slightly weaker. Let's go for 12-3. 12-3, right? We should, in theory, dominate them here, but let's say we wanted to do the Elven team, right? I think I can only actually get them to about 10,000 power as a group. But if we take out Namiri, for instance, and put in Gaz, we come out to about 11-9. So this is a little bit of a punch-up, and a lot of people have been curious as to the punch-up potential of the Rivendell characters. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I've heard lots of people saying that they punch up really well, and a lot of people say they don't. Again, it's just a gear crunch. I mean, you can technically punch up power because power can be manipulated in multiple ways. You can manipulate it with levels. You can manipulate it with gear tiers, ability tiers. Like, there are plenty of ways that you can manipulate the power of your team. And a lot of it, I'm going to be honest with you, comes down to the fact that so much power is kind of based in everyone's Ironhide because he is the strongest character on everyone's team. But the sad state of the game right now in the gear crunch or the gear check that is the arena is that if their Gaz is strong enough, it doesn't matter how good Elladan is or how much he dodges and how much Elrohir counterattacks and stuff like that. If the enemy team's Gaz or whatever really highly geared character they have is able to... Oh, I thought that was Arwen. I thought I was using Arwen Dispel. I guess they all look so similar that you can't even tell at the end of the day. at the end of the day, I mean, like, if you just get beat by gear. Like, if you can't survive a couple of Gaz AoEs, or you can't survive a Strider that's at 3,500 power or 3,000 power, or like a 3,000 power Aimer just taking you out, you're not really going to do much. And that's not to say that these characters aren't good, because if you gear them up to comparable levels, I think you're going to have a really good shot at beating opponents in Arena. I don't think it's going to be better than Rohan, but I do think, because Rohan just has insane damage. But if you're comparable gear, I think you're going to be able to do some good stuff in Arena. The thing is, I wouldn't expect, without Elrond, I would not expect this team to go above and beyond and punch up and be fantastic and be amazing and do all the things that people have kind of speculated by looking at the kits. The kit looks really good. I promise you the kit's good. I promise Elladan is good. I promise Elrohir is good. I promise that these elves are good. It's just that they need to be on comparable gear levels, and the only thing in the game that will kind of transcend the gear check is going to be Elrond. So if you want to get out from under this, and obviously this only matters if you're a pay-to-play player right now, but if we're talking 3 to 6 months in the future when the event's back around, I do think that this is going to be one of the only teams in the game, at least that we know right now, that's going to be able to transcend the gear crunch, where you can actually punch up reliably. Now, by the time you get it free-to-play, it's no longer going to be the meta, and that's okay, right? A lot of people are only looking this from an Arena perspective. Arena is not the only thing that matters. It's not even one of the main things that matters. We're going to get raids. We're going to get inter-guild PvP where you're going to need multiple teams. We're going to get inter-player PvP where you need multiple teams. This game and these types of games will always and are always about, do you have a collectively good roster, right? And the Elven team with Elladan, with Arwen, with Elrohir, with Lomian, and with Elrond, regardless of what the current Arena meta is at the time, are going to possess that punch-up, that potential, especially because Elladan is a really, really good character, and he pairs really, really well with Elrohir, going back to the original thesis of the video, that Elladan is actually really good. So even if they're not the Arena meta at the time that you unlock them as a free-to-play player 3 to 6 months from now, they're still going to be a good enough team and still a synergistic punch-up team that they're going to be very valuable. They're going to have good value. You're going to be very efficient to, fight slightly stronger geared teams that maybe have less synergy in a guild PvP or a raid or something like that, allowing you to have an extra quality team that maybe you don't need to invest in as much as, something like a Rohan team that requires a significant investment to make sure that they do good damage, or an Isengard team that requires a significant investment to make sure that they're tanky enough so that their heal actually means something and gives them longevity in the course of a battle, right? So I think this team has all of the building blocks. Now that Elladan's here, we're finally starting to see the pieces unravel, if you will. It's going to be a fantastic team. Elladan is really good. He's not good by himself. He's good by himself, but he's not transcendent by himself. He's not going to punch up. He's not going to make your already existing free-to-play Arena team any better than it already was by replacing him, with whoever the hell you had in that 5th slot, with Strider or whatever. Is he better than Strider? I think he's probably better than Strider, right? If you have him at the same gear level and ability tier and level that you had your Strider at, I think he's going to make an improvement on your team. But it's not going to be so drastic that you're going to be getting any better rewards than you otherwise would be, unless you're like on the threshold of entering a new tier and he helps you punch up like 7 more levels. But like, you could probably do that with good RNG anyway. You know what I'm saying? So in summation, through the low gear testing, 5-star testing, he's a good character. He does not beat the gear crunch, but he is going to be a very, very, very pivotal part of one of the first teams in the game that is going to have the transcendent potential to not have to worry about the gear check that is the Arena meta right now. So if you guys want to see the Elrond Day 1 unlock and all of the ensuing madness with taking all of these characters to high level, high gear after we get our Elrond event done, make sure to subscribe. Help us get 28,000 subscribers. As always, I love you, and I'll see you later.